Have you ever sat in silence, wondering if God is listening? You pray, you hope, you wait, and yet nothing seems to shift. It feels like your words vanish into the air, unanswered and unnoticed. You've been faithful, you've tried to stay strong, and still, your situation hasn't changed. Maybe you're tired, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Maybe you've whispered prayers through tears, clinging to promises that feel distant. It's okay to admit it. We've all been there. Life gets heavy when it seems like heaven is quiet. But let me tell you something that could change everything. Just because you can't see what Jesus is doing doesn't mean he isn't doing anything. He is working, quietly, powerfully, behind the scenes. You see, God isn't limited to what you can see or feel. His silence is not his absence. His delay is not his denial. Often, the greatest works of God begin in the unseen, deep in the soil before the bloom ever appears. Just like seeds grow underground long before they break through the surface, so does his purpose for your life. He's arranging things you don't even know need arranging. He's softening hearts, opening doors, closing others for your protection, aligning the right people at the right time. The silence may feel like stillness, but in heaven, there is activity on your behalf. You're not forgotten. You're not invisible. And you're definitely not alone. The God who created the universe has not overlooked you. Right now, even as you listen, he is near. He sees you. He hears every whispered prayer. And though you may not see the full picture yet, you can trust this: Jesus is working behind the scenes, and in his perfect time, everything will come together for your good. So don't lose hope. Keep holding on. There are moments in life when heaven feels painfully quiet. You show up in prayer, you do the right things, you keep your faith, yet all you're met with is stillness. No answers, no signs, no open doors. It can feel like you're walking through a fog, searching for God's hand in the dark. Your efforts begin to feel invisible, like no one, not even God, sees the battles you're fighting. Your faith, once strong and bold, now feels shaky and worn down. And your heart? It's tired. Tired of waiting, tired of hoping, tired of trying to stay strong when everything around you feels so uncertain. These are the silent seasons, the in-between places where you're no longer who you used to be, but not yet where you're meant to be. But what if these quiet seasons aren't signs of abandonment, but preparation? What if God's silence isn't him turning away, but him working in ways that are simply beyond your view? In the silence, he's building your character. In the waiting, he's deepening your trust. When everything feels paused, heaven is still moving. God often does his greatest work in the dark, where roots grow deep, foundations are laid, and transformation takes place slowly, quietly, and purposefully. Don't mistake silence for absence. God is closer than you think, even if you can't feel him. Just like a teacher is quiet during a test, God's silence doesn't mean he's gone. It means he's watching, guiding, and letting your faith grow stronger. The silent seasons are sacred. They teach you to walk by faith, not by sight. They stretch you, shape you, and ultimately prepare you for the next part of your journey. So if you're in a quiet season, don't despair. God is still with you, still working, still faithful. When it feels like nothing is happening, it's easy to believe that God has stopped working. But Scripture tells a different story, one filled with people who walked through silence, suffering, and confusion, only to discover that God had been working all along. Take Joseph, for example. Betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison, years passed without resolution. From the outside, it looked like his story had ended in injustice. But behind the scenes, God was orchestrating every step. Each moment of hardship was positioning Joseph for something far greater than he could see. When the time was right, he was elevated to second in command over Egypt, not just for his sake, but to save many lives. What looked like abandonment was actually divine alignment. Or consider Esther, a young woman taken from her home and placed in a royal palace, surrounded by uncertainty and danger. She didn't know why God had allowed her to be there. But when her people faced destruction, it became clear, she had been placed in that position for such a time as this. God's plan had been in motion all along, even when she didn't understand it. Her courage saved a nation, but the groundwork had been laid long before she realized her purpose. These aren't just stories, they're evidence. They show us that God specializes in working through the unseen. He moves quietly, precisely, purposefully. He doesn't forget his people, and he never wastes their pain. Just as he was with Joseph and Esther, he is with you. Even if your situation feels uncertain or unfair, trust that his fingerprints are on your story too. He is aligning details, shaping your journey, and preparing you for a moment that will make sense in time. Don't lose faith, God is still moving. You are not forgotten. Not for a moment. In a world that moves fast and often overlooks the quiet struggles of the heart, Jesus sees you. He knows your name, not just your face, not just your story, but your heart. Every tear you've cried in the silence of the night, every sigh you've released when words ran out, every whispered prayer that no one else heard, he heard them all. Nothing about you is hidden from him. And more importantly, nothing about you is ignored. You are fully known, fully seen, and still, fully loved. Jesus hasn't turned his face from you. Even in the moments when you feel abandoned or overlooked, he's closer than ever. The silence you hear isn't rejection, it's the quiet preparation of something greater. You may not understand why certain doors have closed, why the waiting feels so long, or why the struggle has lingered, but Jesus does. He is weaving together something that goes beyond your current view, something beautiful and deeply personal. The delays, the detours, the heartbreaks, they are not random. They are the soil in which something divine is growing. You matter to him. Your journey matters. Your pain matters. And he is not distant or indifferent to what you're walking through. The same Jesus who calmed the storm, healed the sick, and raised the dead is still active today, and he is working in your life with that same power and tenderness. Don't believe the lie that says you've been forgotten or passed over. Jesus is preparing something you can't yet comprehend, something that will one day make the pain make sense and the waiting feel worth it. Keep holding on. You are seen. You are loved. You are his. Faith doesn't always feel bold or fearless. In fact, more often than not, it feels quiet, fragile, and uncertain. It's not about having it all together or walking through life without doubt, it's about choosing to trust when everything inside you is trembling. Real faith isn't loud confidence, it's the steady whisper of your heart saying, God, I don't see it, but I'll still believe you. Faith is built in the tension between what God promised and what your eyes can see. It's easy to believe when everything is going well, but true faith is forged in the moments when nothing makes sense. It's in the nights when your heart aches and prayers seem unanswered. It's in the days when your strength is gone and you have to lean entirely on God's grace just to keep going. Faith doesn't ignore reality, it sees the mountain and still believes it can move. It hears the silence and still believes God is speaking. It walks through the valley and still trusts there is a purpose on the other side. That's the kind of faith Jesus honors, not perfect, polished faith, but raw, real, honest faith that keeps showing up even when the outcome is unclear. Standing on the promises of God when the evidence says otherwise isn't easy, but it's powerful. It tells the world, and more importantly, your own soul, that your hope is not in what you can see, but in who he is. Behind the silence, behind the delays, behind the waiting, Jesus is moving. He's working in ways your eyes can't yet perceive. So don't measure your faith by your feelings. Even a mustard seed of trust can move mountains. Keep walking. Keep believing. You're not alone, and he's not finished. Delays can be one of the hardest parts of faith. When you've prayed, waited, and hoped, only to find yourself still stuck in the same place, it can feel like God has forgotten you, or worse, said no. But here's the truth, delay is not denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. God's timing is not based on your calendar, your deadline, or your sense of urgency. He sees your whole story from beginning to end, and he knows exactly when to bring each piece together. What feels like a setback might actually be the setup for something greater. Sometimes, what you think is a delay is actually his way of protecting you from something you can't yet see. Other times, it's preparation, building your strength, shaping your character, deepening your trust, so that when the blessing comes, you're ready to carry it. And sometimes, it's redirection. You may be praying for one door to open while God is gently guiding you toward another, better one that you haven't even considered yet. His ways are higher. His vision is clearer. And his love for you is far too deep to let you settle for less than what he's planned. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to ask questions. But don't lose hope. Just because the promise hasn't arrived doesn't mean it's been canceled. God isn't done with your story. In fact, some of the most beautiful chapters are still ahead. Trust that the author of time has not forgotten what he spoke over your life. He's never late, and he's always intentional. So breathe. Rest in his timing. Keep walking by faith. The delay you're facing today could be the very thing that leads you to a breakthrough tomorrow. This may be your midnight hour, the moment when everything feels darkest, when the weight is the heaviest, and when hope feels like a flickering flame. You may be tired of holding on, tired of believing, tired of telling yourself that things will get better. But I want to speak directly to your heart. Don't give up now. Don't walk away in the middle of the story, because the author hasn't finished writing. Morning is coming. The light is closer than you think. And even now, in the middle of your weariness, Jesus is still working. He's still writing. He's still moving pieces behind the scenes to bring his promise to pass. You may not feel strong, but you don't have to be. What matters is that you keep showing up. Keep trusting, even if your trust feels fragile. Keep believing, even if your faith feels small. God is not asking you for perfection, he's asking you to hold on. You are closer than you realize to the breakthrough you've been waiting for. The healing, the peace, the restoration, it's on the way. Just like night gives way to dawn, your struggle will give way to a new season. This pain has an expiration date, and it will not last forever. Jesus hasn't left you. He hasn't forgotten your prayers or overlooked your tears. Every step you've taken, every tear you've cried, every time you've chosen faith over fear, it all matters. It's all seen, and it's all part of a story that ends in his goodness. So don't stop now. Don't let go. You're not at the end, you're at the turning point. Hope is not lost. It's alive, and it's rising. Morning is coming, and with it, everything you've been waiting for. Hold on, God is not finished with you yet. When you find yourself standing at the edge of uncertainty, unsure of what comes next, it's easy to believe that nothing is happening. The silence can feel loud. The waiting can feel endless. But in those exact moments, when you see no way forward, when you hear no response, hold on to this truth: Jesus is never idle. He doesn't abandon his children. He doesn't forget the cries of your heart. He is working, even when you don't see it. Quietly. Faithfully. Behind the scenes, he is arranging every detail with care and purpose. He's softening hearts that need to change. He's opening doors you didn't even know existed. He's preparing places, people, and moments that will unfold in his perfect time. What seems still to you is never still in heaven. God is always in motion, always on time, always good. And because he is working, you don't have to carry the weight of trying to figure everything out. You don't have to have all the answers. You just need to trust the one who does. So breathe. Let the weight of worry fall off your shoulders. Let the noise of fear quiet in the presence of his peace. You're not forgotten. You're not overlooked. You're not waiting in vain. Jesus is at work in ways you can't yet imagine. He has a plan for your life, and not a single moment is wasted. Every delay, every tear, every unanswered question, it's all being woven into something beautiful. Let your soul remember this: He is faithful. He always has been. He always will be. And right now, this very moment, He is working for your good. So rest in that truth, because with Jesus, there is always hope.